So part 3, the Constitution itself is the solution. So now we turn to my favorite quote from President James Garfield, who gives us a great perspective on the power we already have. He tells us, "Now more than ever before, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress. If that body be ignorant, reckless, and corrupt, it is because the people tolerate ignorance, recklessness, and corruption. If it be intelligent, brave, and pure, it is because the people demand these high qualities to represent them in the national legislature." Who is he saying is responsible for our out-of-control Congress? We the people. We the people have the power. If we demand these high qualities of Congress, they will reflect it. Again, that brings up this ruby slippers concept. We already have the power, don't we? Thomas Jefferson tells us, you may remember this quote, "If we think the people are not enlightened enough to exercise their control, their power, with wholesome discretion, the remedy is not to take that power from them, but to inform their discretion by education." This is one of the many times where they talk about true correctives of abuses of constitutional power. Educate the people. Samuel Adams warns us, "Neither the wisest constitution nor the wisest laws will secure the liberty and happiness of a people whose manners are universally corrupt." Changes to the Constitution won't solve it, will it? Thomas Jefferson again tells us, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be." To me, this sums up the Article 5 Convention movement. Ignore the ignorance of the people. We're going to save the nation anyway. You cannot force liberty on a people who are ignorant of the principles of liberty. We cannot be ignorant and free. They're trying to accomplish the impossible. We must address the true root of the problem to solve anything. He also tells us, "Educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty." And the last quote in this series, this is not a founding father, but also a great quote of wisdom. Thomas Edison tells us, "The strength of the Constitution lies in the will of the people to defend it." Why does Congress not follow the Constitution? As long as we, the people, don't know the rules, they don't have to follow the rules. It's that simple. When we understand and demand adherence to the Constitution, they will follow it. Another video that I created a number of years ago is called The Power of 500. This is a lesson that I learned early on in political activism, that if we were to pull together a team of 500 people working in concert in a coordinated fashion in any congressional district, that is enough voice to start turning that entire congressional district more toward the Constitution. We've demonstrated this in my home state with Montana, where our congressman a number of years ago, we started to really focus on holding him accountable to his oath of office. And his voting record began to improve dramatically. He went from following the Constitution about half the time to around 90 to 95% of the time. He was strictly following the Constitution. And he started to refer to me as his conscience, being the organizer of this movement, to hold him accountable. In a friendly way as well. We do have the power to hold them accountable if we turn to the power the Founding Fathers told us to use. So what we need to do, very simple three-step process here. Number one, we the people need to learn the Constitution. I'll recommend reading the Constitution, studying the Federalist Papers, and the John Birch Society has a video series called The Constitution is the Solution, which is designed to help you and your friends come together and learn the Constitution together. This is a great tool to help you build a team of people who understand the Constitution and to magnify your voice. By using this series, gather a group of 10 or 20 people in your home, learn the Constitution together, and then start speaking in favor of it. Speaking in favor of following its limits of power and so on. You'll be surprised how much you can magnify your voice in this process. The second step, which I request of you, please help us defend the Constitution from what I consider to be one of the greatest threats it's facing today, this Article 5 Convention. Let's not subject the Constitution to dangerous amendments. As Scalia said, this is not a good century to write a Constitution. We need to protect and preserve the Constitution. The John Birch Society has many materials that are available to help educate on the dangers of an Article 5 Convention. And finally, we need to hold them accountable, the action part of it here. Quote from Thomas Jefferson says, In questions of power then, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down for mischief by the chains of the Constitution. My favorite tool for this process is produced by the New American Magazine, the Freedom Index. This is the voting records of U.S. House and Senate compared to the Constitution. This is how we got my congressman to start following the Constitution better. Start distributing this Freedom Index all throughout the congressional district. They start having to answer questions like, well, it says here that you voted for a certain unconstitutional action. I wanted to ask you where you felt you had the authority in the Constitution for this vote. They get asked those questions very often. They start changing the way they vote if enough people are asking them those types of things. This is a powerful tool for reining in Congress, both the House and the Senate. It's a very simple process. We need to become informed. We need to help others around us become informed. And working together, we already have the power to rein in the federal government. We don't need to risk changes to the Constitution. Please help us sustain and defend the Constitution. Thank you.